Eve Paints.
Hey folks, welcome to another 3D printing Patreon preview. I have 175 campaigns to share with you, as well as an additional 29 in the lightning round at the end. Quick content warning, some of the images contain pinups and other objectified models. There's a link in the description to a video I made discussing why that may need a content warning. Alright, let's get started. The Vermilion Kingdom is the April release from Rising Kingdom Miniatures. Here are a couple pieces of fan art by Claudio Cassini Art. Sark's Foundry has a mob of mutants and perhaps the man making them. "3D Dark Creations has a mortuary, mausoleum, and abbey ruins this month. Here's the first Dread Hollow from Realm Gate Studio. Omega Models has Unchained Beasts this month. Arcanum Workshop is releasing several demons this month. The Portal of Morrow has a party of pirates. Zombie Smith has 6 gladiators of 3 different types. Mecha Miniatures has goblins getting up to all sorts of trouble this month, some of it including artillery. Here is an Urnworm from Mimics and Miniatures. These are just a few of the many models the Unholy Trinity are putting out this month. Lost World Miniatures has a cast of Osimar in various different classes. Three new ships for the glory of the human race by Ivan this month. Here are a couple recent war mechs from Some Assembly Required. The Pharaoh's Army Returns from My 3D Print Forge. Here's a couple bug-eyed aliens from Print, Paint, and Play. Here's a couple heroes and monsters from Epic Adventure Miniatures. This is the first in an apparent wave of Necro Cyborgs from the Dork Factory. Maps and Monsters has Gibbering Aberrations this month. Here's the first release from Imitation of Life Miniatures. LP Miniatures has an Ancient Green Dragon, free on Thingiverse. Some nice cyberpunk minis, bases, and spaces from Cybermyths. Cert Studio has a new dwarf for you this month. Frostyland by Savant 3D is a large set of wintry cavern terrain. Renan 3D STL Print has some pretty impressive sci-fi vehicles and armor. The Cult of Pickle has an army of Jade Skellies for you this month. Deathhaven has some teethy flabby horrors to fuel your players' nightmares. Clay Demon Miniatures is working on some fish faces and a diorama with them. Don Whitaker's plants this month are Williamsonia, Balanophoria, and Lepidodendron. The Legend of the Sunken Crew is the April release from Drunken Dwarf. This piece by Kraken's Vault is titled Kindred Spirits. Polygrim has a Japanese theme this month, with scenery, miniatures, and yokai. Art of Mike has Apocalypse Survivors and Cyberpunk Ronin. Celia Miniatures has Chibi Abbott and Costello, as well as a couple Angry Farmers. Dottie Dungeon and Intorni has multi-floor buildings this week, a store and a merchant's house. Red Nebular has Hobgoblins and Space Toads. Random Minis has a couple Armored Warriors and some UFO tiles. The latest release from Codex Universalis was these Blackwood Guardians and forest bases for them. Thunderchrome has modular buildings with an Eastern motif. Greenskin Miniatures has Night Goblins and Wolf Riders. These four-legged orca creatures by Jamie Corte are called Aklut. Happy Duck 3D have these Primaires pony marines that you didn't know you needed until now. The Exiled Dwarves by Kurzluck Miniatures will fight anyone to reclaim their home. Across the Realms has Undead for their April release. Zandoria Studios has a Troll Thief this month. There's floor and wall tiles, as well as characters in Mojibake's April release. Moore's Mihi Lucrum are these motley zombies by Nova Minis. These modular, super heavy infantry are from 2 Gargoyle Studios' Soldiers of Viria collection. Labradorite Wolf has a Jackdaw Kenku man named Scree this month. Maddox Historical Miniatures has minis representing Russia, Prussia, France, and Britain this month. An Assassin, Obsidian Guard, and Shadow Riders from Dragon's Lake Miniatures this month. Space Legats has 2 armored vehicles with different options for weaponry. Village's Hope Miniatures has part 2 of their Hyaki Yagyo collection, the Night Parade of 100 Demons. Here are 2 orcs from Knucklebones, as well as 10mm scale tower and Ash Waste Nomads. Caballero Miniatures has a squad of medium cavalry. Magori Miniatures made this land ship and its 5 crew. Here's the latest mech suit released from Fable Table. Colossal Miniatures has 5 new modern survivors and 5 new fantasy miniatures as well. An Elephant Folk Monk and Raccoon Artificer from Naga Minis this month. 3 rebels and a couple squads of troopers hunting them down from Warblade Studio. Velrock Art Miniatures has several Tempest Guardsmen this month. Role-Playing Miniatures has a couple Dwarven Smiths and a Fishmonger this month. Here is Dunley the Dog Morley, multi-part thief from Heroes and Beasts. Legend Builds add some scenery to their Realms of Eros, as well as a couple of new characters. Multi-part Void Troopers for their Midnight Counts line by Hellforged Miniatures, as well as Satyr 9 Power Armor. A good medley of monsters from Moonglaive Studios. Ancient Mandarin Knights from Studio DR with Mandarin Knight Zane himself. Ilhadiel has the Mage Queen and her bodyguard, Eagle-mounted elves, the Moon King, and more. "3D Hexes has the Bone Stronghold, as well as the Bone Monolith, and some Bone Pillars for good measure. Crucible of Games has some of their 2-Pi crew with drones, as well as a modular weapon tank. Orc King has a large release this month, with the Dwarven Navy facing off against a Mega Gargant. Gloomy Kid Minis has some half-giants this month, as well as Braxat, Raiders, and Zeron. From Cursed Forge this month, we have Mind Flayer models and busts. More Star Scales from Clay Beast Creations, this time with Big Angry Reptiles and Light Nova Rider Cavalry. Lair of the Tethered One by Void Realm Minis includes Bezeret, the Tethered One, and his Vine Leviathan friend, amongst others. Matt Mason has an STN-1S Sentinel BN edition, a medium battle mech built by Defiance Industries. Here's a Sahagin coming soon from Creature Armory. Print and Paint Miniatures has a Noxious Swarm including Ratfolk, Spider Things, and a young prince. Crosslances has some evil bunnies and some Greek-inspired sci-fi characters. Wake's Emporium has 10mm Orkin and Moorhow Grenadiers. Battle Yak Miniatures has Gormalgoth Overlords this month, with about 10 different units and lots of different bits for them. A bunch of sci-fi markers from Sable Badger, as well as a nice set of Tilestone Ramparts. Fleshcraft Studio has created Morghoul and 3 Shrieker Ghouls, Spawns of the Great Rot, Chapter 2. Big Mr. Tong has Space Auxiliaries this month, as well as Gaslands Barricades and Zombies, Atlantis Guardians, Nun and Preacher Driver and Gunners, and some Nakdrek Rat Cavalry. The battle for the Forest Moon of Endor is heating up this month, as more rebels and more stormtroopers by Maddox join the fray. Albino Raven Minis has some new law enforcers and has added new models to multiple older sets. New models from Imperatum Art include a Warbarge, Stormboat, Beast Trainer, a Sneck Warrior, and a Team of Fiends. Dark Foundry Miniatures brings new HQ options to their Tidehaunters, Sentinels for their Technops, and a broken image link to the Spartanian assault vehicle. Construction is complete on the Baby Nundum by Outrageous Creations. The last of the Lotus Knights of Polaris from Tiger Skull RPG comes in 8 different poses with stats and weapon options. Rober Roland has Gonzo, Geodude, and what I'm pretty sure is Hannibal Lecter wearing a skin mask. From Goonmaster Games we get a bunch of Foxfolk with a wagon, tent, and some simple possessions. The Murderous Crows here are their throwback minis this month. Aether Studios has a bunch of sets with trees, arachnid caves, an eastern farm, dwarven architecture, and a little tavern. Onmyoji has an army of Chaos Knights this month, with 10 and 28mm versions from the looks of it. Lion Tower Miniatures has Rokubo Light Cavalry and Talarian Outriders so far this month. Warplock Miniatures has a 10mm army of halflings, as well as a conversion kit for last month's Minotaur Skelly. Oregia, Alien Sanctum from Sacris Mundus, is buildings, towers, and bases from a mysterious alien civilization. Here are a few freebies from Capsule Chibi this month. Sky Dwarves and Space Dwarves are dropping from Kyo Shuneko Miniatures this month. Devale Games has 5 Super Orcs and a Great Dragon to go with them. Dice Heads has some really nice models this month, including a moose-mounted rabbit and a dolphin-mounted turtle. Alexei Konev has 2 busts of the angel and a siren protecting her eggs. A full unit of Yuzong Vongs, Gungan Riders on Kadu, Chancellor Palpatine, and more from Black Remnant this month. Titan Troll has some Goblin chess pieces, Werefolk, and a few heroes and villains for adventurers and NPCs. A bunch of creepy, slimy, tentacled, and many-headed things from Schlossbauer this month. Bright Minis has a big creepy Ettercap, a Cyclops, Catapult, and a Shepherd about to meet a wolf-riding goblin. Sarli Factory has some Xenos Pyramids this month, as well as shipping crates. Last Sword Miniatures has more Lion Guard this month, as well as a Dragon Prince and Skink Warriors. Epics and Stuffs added a couple big guys late last month, and has some new Shroomies and Turtlefolk for us so far this month. Print Minis has 2 crews of space pirates, along with several spaceships, interstellar beasts, terrain, and bases. That Evil One has another bust of Ralazar and other nice-looking Space Marine proxies. Edge Miniatures has female racked warriors and slaves. Here are all the Kenku from Manuel Boria in March. For April, they're working on Loxodons, such as this barbarian here. Seb Miniatures has some popular characters like Hondo Onaka and Hera Syndulla this month, but I think the real takeaway here is definitely the Wookiee Jedi. Twin Goddess has Grub, the Firebolt Cook, with his food cart, a Goblin Spellcaster, Frog Knight, Sir Barrington, and more. The Sealy Court, by 3D Art Digital, wages war against the corrupted wood to protect their source of power from Plantario and his army of plant monsters. Prey Collection Studio is back with more Biker Mice from Mars and various other Ninja Turtle and other cartoon-related characters. This fishmonger from Great Grimoire made quite the unexpected catch. Also, watch out for the Ripper, the Great Old One, and some more undersea evil. The Depths of the Mountains by Crippled God Foundry has a bunch of Durgar, evil underground dwarves, with a bunch of other underground beasties and cavern terrain. Here is a bust of John McClane from Die Hard, and a statue of Iceman from the X-Men by Sanix. Gearguts' Mech Shop has a bunch of Boozer Guard shock troops with various different weapons, but they're only a small part of the giant army Gearguts puts out each month. The orcs that came out of Dark Realms last month continue to conquer and fortify everything they found. Is Aeterna, the city of antiquity, next? The Elves of High Hollow from Daybreak Miniatures this month live among the Durtan trees and hold dominion over all the beasts of the forest, great and small. Atlan Forge made 3 releases of their unique Space Marine motifs, including Asgardian Pack Hunters, the Lord of Hades, and Minoan Bull Riders. The Dwarves of the Bronze Kingdom by Signum Workshop are great inventors and brave warriors, and they will not tolerate your disrespect. Broken Anvil Monthly brings you the Barconians, 15 minis of various different classes in 2 different breeds with 4 unique bases. From Yasashi Kyojin Studio, we have some simple scatter terrain, some woodland critters, owl bears, and an ominous monster's den. Monstrous Encounters has a Fantasy HQ and special characters, as well as modular sci-fi Ash Raiders. Duncan Shadow's April release includes Raccoon Folk Rogues and Warriors, female Halfling Archers and Warriors, some rocky terrain, and some Badger Warriors. Raven Twin has an army of Wildhorn this month, featuring double axes, axes and shields, a command group, chariot, and a big old Gortak to make someone's day a little less pleasant. The only Hanzaki this month from Cobra Mode is Hajime, a bust of a grizzled veteran shinobi. Sent to fight the Duckling army from across the river, watch out for the duck-billed platypotamus while crossing. Masterwork Tools adds a good selection of ruined cut stone floor and wall tiles, also an old broken well. Print Your Monsters has allowed a Chaos Sorcerer to summon all manner of crazy Chaos Beasts to his aid, with some nice scenic bases to boot. From Gamescape 3D, we get halfling homes, standing stones, and a little Celtic settlement with huts and walls. Here are several more Thieves Guild members from Vevictus for March, as well as a trapdoor for them to escape through, and a look at April's first fantasy western model. Thanael, the Archangel of Death from Comet Lord Miniatures, along with the Grave Titan and an army of angelic reapers and specters, have come to face down 2 mighty turtles in several poses each. Asgard Rising has 2 little armies, one of goblins and one of goblins riding trollhounds, or just the trollhounds by themselves. This month, from Bite the Bullet, we have a Battle Sister, a Banner Bearer, a Nurse with a big knife and a big dog, and finally a bit of Light Cavalry. Tanis from Ritual Casting comes with all the usual options and attention to detail that you will normally find here, but this month there are also Dino Dogs. Chapter 9 from The Printing Goes Ever On is The Elves of Brightwood. There is Galadhiel, the Queen of Brightwood, with Fey options in minis and busts. There's also Savanor, the Lord of Brightwood, and Scouts, Guards, and Riders. Fotis Mint has 3 new statues for you to print and paint this month, 2 of them being of Vision, and 1 being of this lovely Jormungandr. Highlights from Rocket Pig Games this April include a Hippofolk Gunfighter, a Clock-Warped Demon, an Imprisoned Abyssal Lord, and a Demon Steel's Dragon. Papsikel's April Cyberpunk release is Mechs vs. Droids, with some definite Nightsaber inspiration. Come to smash those disobedient boomers. They also have a Metahumans release with a bunch of sci-fi female elf assassins. The Dragon's Rest has a teaser of some nice cavern tiles, as well as Ghoulberg, cemetery walls, tiles, and gate with a nice skull motif. From Printed Obsession, we have the Puppet Master's Traveling Show, including the Puppet Master, the Potions Master, a horse puppet, some cute little dolls, and the Big Boss version of the Puppet Master. The Beat of Mighty Wings heralds the arrival of the April release for Forest Dragon's Chivalric Knights, as well as Archers, a new Knight and Enchantress. There are Pegasus-mounted Knights, another Enchantress, and a Lord. The 3 packs from STL Miniatures this month are Lumberjacks, Carpenters, and Guildmasters. Each set includes several pieces of scatter terrain, and the Lumberjacks includes a gnome-piloted lumber mech. The Dwarven Navy is back for a second month from Punga Miniatures. The Stern Boys bring a Blitzer, 6 Blockers, a Wizard, Slayer, Cannoneer, and Food Seller to the fields for your favorite fantasy football game. Highlands Miniatures has Crusaders this month, some with spears, some with swords, and some with shields. There is quite a bit of variation among the models, with different helmets, robes, and hoods. Clay Cyanide Studios is celebrating their 1-year anniversary on Patreon with the Wrath of God collection, where characters and personas represent plagues that humans are bound to face. About 18 models with a couple of busts and a bit of terrain. Mia K's most recent release is of Vikings, and it looks like it may be the next as well, as her Patreons seem to really like them. So far, we have work-in-progress images of a shield maiden and a blacksmith. Expect a shaman, leader, and bear-mounted warrior in the future. Unit 9 has various different grades of Alpha Trooper for April, Nakamura Shock Troopers, as well as Johnny and the Psychos, everyone's favorite militant cyber metal band. Here are some trolls coming in late last month from White Werewolf Tavern, and for April we have Kunar the Giant Slayer, a haunted scarecrow, and a murder of crows with Moletta, Crow Mother, and a Kenku Druid still in the works. From 1 gold piece this month, we get 5 undead Imperial soldiers and 2 of the new feral halflings that live in trees and definitely aren't Ewoks. 3D Art Guy has a Hunter pack this month. The Hunter comes with several variants, including a Chaos Knight version, and a piece of jungle terrain that can double as her display base, displaying her Severed Dragon Head prize. This April, Bestiarium Miniatures invites you into the darkness of the Gorgon Catacombs. Here you will find enslaved pilgrims, warriors and beasts, and some creepy creatures keeping them there. All super modular and great for kit bashing. Classic JRPG Volume 1 from RN Estudio has Chocobos, Moogles, and Magitech armor, as well as a bunch of more original heroes. There's also a great big mecha dragon for them to face off against. Anvil Digital Forge has hammered out some space western minis and scenery for us this month. With modular gunslingers galore, you'll have a hard time keeping peace in the place. Luckily, the robot bartenders and dealers are easily replaceable. Gamek has the Demon Prince Magnus this month for their fantasy tier, as well as a couple different Eldar in a few different poses each for their sci-fi. This month, Lost Kingdom Miniatures is releasing units and characters for the Undying Dynasty's forces. There is Amenophis on a Canoptic Altar, Pharaoh Akhenaten on Staw Chariot, Nejbet Artifacts, Sekhmet Swarm Sorcerers, and a Divine Sphinx. For Trappers this month, from the Dragon Trappers Lodge, we have Matu Matu, a Fist Monk, the Brash and Impulsive Kang, the Narxi Tribal Warrior, Kuxi, the somewhat reckless Axolotl, Yanni, and Glork, the Sorog. Dragons for them to trap include Flying Raptors, the Jungle Griffin, a Beetle Hulk, and a Vile Blossom. One Page Rules has a new army this month. The Duchy of Vinci is something of a science fantasy armor, with knights mounted on horse automata, and lots of crossbows. They are also continuing the Alien Hive series, with bigger bugs and some warriors. There are also 5 dwarves and a walker for Battle Sisters. Alright, it's time once again for the Epic Miniatures Epic Side Scroll. 86 new minis, some with multiple options and poses. There is a Trinity Cyclops, Hobgoblin Gladiators, and a Rhino Champion, as well as a gigantic arena for them to face off in. There's a good number of statues to decorate the arena, and a male gladiator. Moving on, we have Hercules the Knight, the Horned and Winged White Tiger of the West, a Monk Adventurer, Storm Giants, Ogre Gladiators, the White Bone Huntress, a Captured Hydra, Female Gladiators, Cerberus, a Clan of Dragonborn, Armored Dark Elf Spider Things, Bone Golems, the Reaper, Female Devilkin, a Fire Devil, Van Helsing with a Nun Assistant, a plague doctor, horsewomen of pestilence, beakworms, mosquito bats, horned devils, several succubi, and finally Lilith, Lucifer, and several fallen angels. It says March at the top, but I'm pretty sure the Urukan tribe is Cast and Play's April release. There are a Goblin Shaman and Ranger that could be used for player characters, but the rest are big scary orcs and bony dinosaurs. Terrain includes modular platforms, a watchtower and catapult, and tiles and bases like usual. Late March releases from the Maker's Cult include Feudal Guard Militia and Iron Hive Sentry Guards. April releases so far include Tempest Lords / Black Knights Warbikes, a Starpharaoh Mummifier, a Dark Crusader Priest and Heavy Vault, a Feudal Guard Sergeant Builder, and Valor Corps Heavy Weapons Set 2 with heavy guns, cannons, and rocket launchers. Mini Monster Mayhem has The Light Corrupt. There are several NPCs with normal and corrupted versions, including a priest, blacksmith, barkeep, and butcher. Larger models include an afflicted planetar, solar eclipsed celestial, a wrathful Kirin, corrupt phoenix, and a gargantuan seduced Kukulkan. Lord of the Print have chosen Japan as the theme for their April release, including Godzilla, a gold dragon in several poses, and the Kirin. There are 2 lightly armored male samurai and 3 unarmored ladies, which are also supposed to be samurai. Finally, there are 3 poses of the Chinese mythical figure Wukong, named Son Goku in Japanese. Take a journey through the optic fibers. Meet the avatars of the digital world and hack your way through the Matrix. Cyberforge is full of cyberpunk this month, with grid users, abusers, defenders, and natives. Villains like Elliot Heck and Yoburi, the Synapse Assassin, are tracked by the likes of T. Arrow and Bradley with their digital avatars, Athenon and Jaffa. One month wasn't enough to contain the entire pantheon. Heroes Infinite by Raging Heroes is again engaged with the Greek gods and heroes of Olympus. Starting with H, we have Hades, Hecate, Hermes, and Hephaestus, god of the forge. There is also Artemis, Morpheus, Atalanta, and Orpheus in hell. Pandora is opening her box, and Kronos is stopping clocks while towering over the Olympian centerpiece. Squads include Hoplites, Harpies, Skellies, and Skelly Cavalry. "54 new models from MZ4250 since last video. There are Bards, a dragon-riding paladin, a weird nonaton robot-looking thing, lizard folk, turtle folk, a jackalope. I particularly like the armored beasts he has been creating. There's an armored giraffe and an armored owlbear, as if they aren't bad enough. The Canadian Moose Dragon is pretty spot on. There are more heroes and beasts, helmed horrors, hippogriffs, and a hydra, all topped off by a kraken, both below and breaking the surface to confront your heroes. From Archvillain Games this month, The Queen's Web Underworld includes several large arachnoid monsters and Droxdock riders, as well as quite a few dark elves with fighters and swordmasters, as well as neophytes, priests, and a matriarch. These would make a nice little cult to pit your players against. The April release from Titan Forge Miniatures is Yokai, strange and interesting creatures of Japanese folklore. The phoenix-looking bird is Suzaku, vermilion bird of the south. There are several Tengu, the birdfolk, Tanuki, and modular Kappa, turtle-looking fellas. As usual, there are 3 Titans of Adventure, lots of bases, and some impressive terrain. This month also features bonus Dragon Empire sculpts, not released on Patreon before. And finally, this month sees Artisan Guild take the top spot with the Requiem Brotherhood. It's not often that the Artisan Guild does humans, but this month we have a fraternity of paladins, templars, and clerics, with mounted units on unicorn-helmed horses, and the leader riding a winged lion. There's also a pinup, a weapons pack, and a touch of terrain as usual. Okay, time for the lightning round. War Miniatures. Sculpt Tuner. Your Neighbor Knight Minis. Xeris. 3D Print Games. Homunculus Creations. The Lilalian Industrial Complex. Permanent Nerd Damage Studios. B-Team Minis. 2 Moronic Miniatures. Dungeon Dog Miniatures. The Nalon Realm. Sculptor's Cove. Grease Monkeys. Guardians' Destiny. Florian Azar. Blue Wyvern. Miniatures for You. Kerpa Miniatures. Lioness Forge Miniatures. JG Sculpts. Eldritch Tabletop. Stormcrow. Sol Prima Miniatures. Blastcool. MT Forge. Miniatures by Ace. Sarah Borges. Warehouse Workshop. That's all for now. Check back weekly for Print and Paint Kickstarter countdowns, and thanks for watching.